the desire to disappear. I feel like this is one of the things that a lot of people misunderstood about the ideas of disappearing from the world and basically leave no trace. But what I found was I was in this spot also, right? And then I talked to a lot of my friends who's been going through this. Like, they just feel like they just want to drop everything and go to the woods and, like, never be seen again. But the reality is, it's not that you actually want to disappear, and the act of disappearance itself is not really the main goal, but rather you want to get rid of a certain version of yourself that you don't like. And then this version of yourself doesn't always pop up on you. It sometimes it's just randomly get triggered, maybe by an event that maybe you feel embarrassed, maybe you feel disappointed, maybe you got your heart broken or you broke someone's heart. You feel like, what, I feel like I'm the worst person ever, or I feel like I don't even worth of for this life, and you just want to disappear. And that's pretty human, because we are afraid of shame, we are afraid of failure, and that's why one of the ways that we tend to cope is to hide, disappear from this world, basically, right? And this can be a very damaging phase of life if you don't pick yourself back up, because a lot of people, when they get into this phase of life, they tend to do this thing I recently learned about. This thing is called a slow suicide or a soft suicide, whatever it is, right? But essentially what it is you keep on living, right? You keep on living your life, but at the same time you don't care anymore. Same time you feel like nothing else matters in a negative way. Like you can have that mindset of like, it doesn't really matter, and go about your life and detach with a lot of stuff and see it from a positive side. But on the other side of the coin, when you feel like nothing else matters, you just go about your life. You may cross the road without seeing left or right. You may not take care of yourself. You don't keep your hygiene. You don't keep taking care of your style, whatever it is. You don't take care of yourself mentally, like self-care, meditation, whatever it is. That's called a slow suicide or a passive suicide. And once you enter this stage of wanting to disappear, and then you start doing this passive suicide, that's where it's very hard to pull yourself back from that slump. Because essentially, when you start doing that, you like marinating yourself, and undoing the damage take more effort than when you're just starting to feel like this. If you just started to feel like you want to disappear, you can always remind yourself that there's a moment where you want to be seen, when you feel like you're the shit, when you feel like you're the man, whatever it is. You put out your best outfit, and then you feel like everybody wants to see, you want everybody to see this side of you. Like, you can always remind yourself that. And that's how I pull myself back from the slump of wanting to disappear. And this often works and often not. It's a 50-50 chance, but it's better to take the chance than not working on it at all, because essentially, as long as you're trying, you're good. But if you don't try anymore, if you stop trying, that's when it's become a problem. And as a human, the reason why we're existing in this society, the reason why we are inventing stuff, because either we want to help ourselves or help others. Oftentimes, we want to help ourselves because we had a problem and then we invent something. Or other times you see people, they went through some stuff and then you want to invent something. So back to I was sidetracked, but back to the act, the desire of disappearing. This is a very this is something that you don't really see, and people doesn't really talk about it as much. But a lot of time people signal it. They signal it by honestly doing something that's not really benefiting them. They go out. They basically just letting their life go. Maybe they be doing something. They just go party every week, or maybe they drinking themselves to like a blackout, or just staying up all night doing nothing. Oftentimes, this is an effort to numb your mind, to not think about the things that are like hurting you, or the things that are the problem in your life. And it's something that's very unrecognizable. So if you feel like you have a friend that's starting to kind of like disappear, you should like check up on them. It's maybe you see them in person and they look like joyous, right? They look giddy, they look fine as always, but oftentimes it feels off, like something is off with them when they are starting to want to disappear. Maybe they give off maybe they give away their stuff. Maybe they, their attitude towards something, it's very nihilistic. They tend to be very dismissive, dissociative. Look, they are smiling and everything, but it's like at the same time they don't care about their own good or whatever it is, right? Now you need to check up on your friends if they start to act weird like this, start to dissociating. Basically, it's a bit hard to detect. It's kind of like it's one of the sign of depression also. When people start to want, I feel like the biggest feeling when you have a depression is the desire to disappear. But essentially, the desire to disappear is not about the act of disappearance itself, but rather the desire to get rid of the version that you don't like. I hope this video helps you guys, and stay strong, stay swag and stay whimsical.